The wind dragged dust across the corral like a warning no one wanted to hear. The rancher stood alone by the fence, hat low, jaw set, watching the town road bleed into the horizon. He'd built his life on hard ground and harder rules: work first, mercy last. When the rider came in fast, breathing panic into the morning, the rancher didn't move. He'd seen fear before. But when the rider grabbed his sleeve and whispered, "Don't look there," the words landed like a hand on his chest. The rancher turned anyway. Just past the cottonwoods, beyond the creek bend where the land dipped, something was wrong. The cattle had gone silent. Birds lifted as one, a dark wave peeling from the trees. The rancher felt the heat leave his spine. He told himself it was nothing. Rustlers, maybe a fallen steer. He stepped forward. The ground seemed to tilt, the world narrowing to that bend. Another step. The warning echoed again, useless now. He crossed the fence, boots heavy, breath shallow, and the land itself felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for him to see. The creek shimmered like broken glass. At its edge, the rancher stopped cold. The sight refused to make sense at first. Tracks tangled like a storm had passed through them, the earth torn and scarred. A hat lay in the mud, brim crushed, familiar. He knew that hat. His hands trembled before he noticed they were trembling. He scanned the trees, the brush, the waterline. Then he saw it. The sign he couldn't deny. The quiet wasn't natural. It was the kind that follows a scream. The rancher's throat tightened as memory rushed in. Laughter at the saloon last night, a promise made and postponed, a shrug where care should have been. He took one step closer and felt the weight of every choice he'd buried under work and pride. The warning returned, louder now, but it was too late. This wasn't a mystery to solve. It was a reckoning to face. He knelt, touching the mud, reading the story written there. His breath came ragged. The frontier had always been cruel, but this felt personal, like the land itself had turned its face from him. Time stretched thin as wire. The rancher stood and turned slowly, as if the world might shatter if he moved too fast. Faces appeared at the tree line. Hands, neighbors, men who'd shared fences and grudges with him for years. No one spoke. They didn't have to. Their eyes asked the same question he was asking himself. He wanted to explain, to point at the tracks and say this wasn't his doing, that the land had teeth and sometimes it bit without reason. But his voice failed him. He felt exposed, stripped of the armor he'd worn so long it felt like skin. He remembered the warning again. Don't look there, and understood it now. It wasn't about fear of the sight. It was about fear of the truth that followed. The truth that a man can build a kingdom and still neglect the one thing that matters. The truth that silence can be a choice, and choices leave marks. He met their stares and didn't flinch, because flinching would have been a lie. By dusk, the sky burned red as if the day refused to end quietly. The rancher walked back alone, each step measured, the land unchanged and forever altered. He stopped at the fence where it had begun and rested his hands on the wood, steadying himself. He knew what came next. Questions, blame, the long work of mending what could be mended and carrying what could not. The warning echoed one last time, not as a plea but as a lesson. Some things, once seen, cannot be unseen. And some moments don't stop a man cold to break him, they do it to wake him. He lifted his hat to the dying light, not in defeat, but in acknowledgement. The West would move on. So would he. But he would never forget the glance he took when he was told not to look, and the cost that came with it.